What's up, guys? Chasing Lonely here for episode number 25 from Grove to Glory, round 3 of the 2020 F1 season from Beijing today. And thank you for joining me. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe, I'll tell you now, because otherwise I'll probably forget towards the end. Right, so last race we saw Fernando Alonso pick up the win, with Robert Kubica getting himself a handy 4 points, which takes us to third and fourth, with Alonso and Kubica in the Drivers' Championship and second in the Constructors, although we are currently 30 points adrift of Ferrari. So still some work to do, but I'm sure we'll get there together. We'll make the work happen. It's what we do. The race is going to be pretty wet, looking like an overcast changeable qualifying, which often plays well because the AI cannot handle the weather change. So we're going to see how that goes. So we're going to go straight on the other side of the intro into practice and into the race, I suppose, because I'll do practice and quality off camera like I usually do. So we'll go with the BMW sponsor money today because we haven't done that in a while, and let's see what the auto pick is saying. We're a medium tyre wear, so to be honest, 5.5s and that feels unnecessary. I think we'll go with it with the 753 on both. I think that's going to work out nicely. There's enough tyres for quali, and it gives us some options going into the race. Part fitting wise, I think everything we have newly developed is not quite ready yet. Not quite ready reliability wise. You can see we've got a couple of rear wings that aren't quite there yet. We've got a front wing that's not quite there yet, and maybe an engine that's not necessarily there yet, but we're going to make it work regardless. In terms of part development, I've had to kind of cool off a little bit because I'm very aware that the money is running dry. Which is going to be an issue, but we're currently losing 400,000 a race, but also our road car factory will be done by next week, which is actually worth an extra 700,000, so we should start seeing some profit, and then hopefully we can start reinvesting in the car development again, which will be very nice for us. So let's get into the race, and we'll come back on the other side of this with it, and I will fill you in as necessary, I guess. Okay, so interesting qualifying. Kubica on 18th and Alonso making it through to Q3 in 9th, so a bit of a mixed bag. It's going to be an interesting race strategy, this, because if we look at the weather report, the water on track's the easiest way. Well, it looks like we're going to get rain somewhere around lap 16, which is going to start becoming quite bad sort of towards 18 and 20, which has made life a bit difficult. Because on these tyres we can see that Kubica on a fresh set of super softs can get 18. We can probably stretch them a little bit, but we're going to have to try and I want to try and stretch it to lap 20, so we have to go conserve quite early because I want to go straight to a set of wets. So that's going to be an issue. We're also starting 5 laps down on fuel. Alonso's, because he's taken a few laps out of his tyres, obviously with Q2. He's estimated a top end of 17, so we're going to have to try and conserve him even more to get straight onto that wet strategy. And then I think I'd like to try and get onto a set of inters to the end, but that's quite a long wet spell. I mean, we're looking at 12, 16 laps on wet, and I don't know what a set of wets will actually do. I can't see from Alonso, of course I can't, because he's locked into a tyre. 16 on a set of wets is doable. Again, it might be a little bit of a stretch, but I think we can go onto a set of inters and probably save ourselves at least one pit stop over the other teams, because I think they'll go to a set of inters in the transition period. I don't think we're going to lose enough time over that. I think we'll lose maybe 8 seconds, which will obviously we save 20 on a pit stop. So that's kind of the hope that we can outsmart the game a little bit. But here's the starting grid. We've got Bottas and Vettel on the front row, followed by Rahal and Raikkonen on the second row. Really good mix of teams here. Hamilton, then Leclerc. On the fourth row, of course, we have Max Verstappen in a Haas, and then Danny Ricciardo in a Renault. Then in the fifth row, it's Alonso and Giovinazzi. Like I said, it's a really interesting mix because there was some weird weather during qualifying. Fittipaldi in the Haas in 11th, Ocon in the Racing Point in 12th. Then we've got Albuquerque in the McLaren in 13th, Norris in 14th, Sergio Perez in 15th, Sorokin in the other Renault in 16th. Then we've got Rene Rast 17th in a Red Bull, which is incredibly unimpressive in performance, ahead of Kubica, and then Kvyat and Albon in the Toro Rossos making up the back row. So, let's go 5 red lights, let's turn this off. Yeah, we're going to have to really stretch ourselves today. It's going to be a really interesting one. I'm going to do the first couple of laps just on the standard medium strategy, and then I think what I'm going to attempt to do is drop them both down to conserve, see how far we can pull these tyres, because I don't think the time loss on track or in the pits is going to be enough to negate, making the extra pit stop. So I think we're going to be okay. We'll see how we go though. Let's quickly. Didn't want to go to auto. I made a mistake. That's fine. We're going to go to full push mode, and hope Alonso already up into 7th. Kubica up into 14th. So a really good start for both drivers. But hopefully Alonso can get himself among the front runners with a bit of a push. And there we go, up into 4th, job done, and on the back of Verstappen, passing Verstappen into 3rd. And now it's just a case of seeing if he can pull a gap, which hopefully he can start to pull a gap, or at least, keep himself comfortably in that mix before we drop to conserve. We're going to lose probably 3 or 4 places with a conserve, but I think it's going to be worth it long term. We just have to kind of keep within sort of fair touching distance. Raikkonen's been very quick over the course of the weekend. He's pulled out some blistering laps. He's been in P1 all 3 qualifying sessions at some stage, so he's one to watch out for. But Raikkonen's one of those drivers who's incredibly good in both the wet and the dry, so we're going to have to see. 4 laps in now. I just want to have a quick check on Alonso's tyres. 11 laps to go. It's definitely time to drop him down to conserve, otherwise we're not going to make it. I think we'll do the same with Kubica, who's up into 9th. Really good start for Robert Kubica. We're just going to try and extend these tyres as far as we can. Hopefully they don't start to degrade with the lack of temperature, but I think this will stand us in really good stead actually for that crossover. Just keep the life in the tyres, keep ourselves in the mix as long as we possibly can, take these tyres as far as they'll go, and then the real hope is that when we start to get the weather, we are going to be in a good position. Kubica dropping down to 12th. It was predictable because he doesn't really belong anywhere in the top 10. So it's purely strategy that's got him any points at all this year. So we're going to have to kind of hope we can do that again. I know he wants to attack a bit more. They both want to attack a bit more, but we've got to do something. I'm going to see if I can maybe. Let's not take that risk. I know the tyres are underheated. I saw that. I know that. I trust that entirely. We can't afford to not conserve these tyres. Where are we at in terms of extra tyre life now? 8 to 10. 8 to 10 is going to take us to about 15. It's not going to be enough. We may have to make that extra stop with Fernando. It's going to be an interesting one, a really interesting one. I don't know if anyone else is conserving their tyres. Not really. So I don't know. Maybe they're gambling on having to make 2 pit stops before the wet period. I'd really like to not have to do that. I mean, if I have to make the pit stop for Inters, I will do. And Raikkonen's gone full, just use the tyres, which means he's definitely going to have to make an extra pit stop. He's got no choice whatsoever, which definitely a risky strategy. Ocon's done the same thing in the Racing Point at the back there in 16th. So I don't know. It's going to be stressful for sure. What have we got left on those tyres? 7 to 9. We might just make it. We might just make it into the rainy period onto a set of wets. Let's see what Kubica's got left on his. 7 to 9 for him as well. 7 to, where are we? We're middle of lap 9. It's going to be close. Really close. Really close. Uncomfortably close, to be honest. We may have to be one of those teams that comes in and makes a switch to Inters, takes the benefit of the Inters and hopes for the best. I mean, there is something, an argument of maybe just going to the wets and conserving those as well. But I don't think I want to do that. I don't think that's a safe strategy. I don't think it's the right strategy. I think it's going to be a real test today to keep this going. Kubica's found his way back up into ninth whilst conserving, which is interesting. We can see Raikkonen and Ocon are coming for a set of softs, which is madness with the rain approaching. Maybe they haven't got the telemetry to see the weather. Yeah, that's not the one. That's not a wise move, to be completely honest. We're cutting it very fine with this. Very, very fine with this strategy, but we're going to have to make it work. Let's see where we're at now with Alonso and his tyres. 4 to 6. We're on lap 12. We might just make it. We might just make it into the wet period. It's annoying though, because we are going to have to probably take two stops to make that go. And I don't know. I mean, Hamilton's also coming in for another set of softs, so maybe we're going to be okay. Maybe we're going to get away with a kind of free pit stop, because there is going to have to be a switch from most of the field onto inters. So we're going to have to see. We're going to have to see. It's going to be really, really interesting. No one's made the early jump to inters, which occasionally happens when there's rain coming. Alonso, what do you got left on these tyres, buddy? 2 to 4. It's going to be a set of inters. Definitely going to be a set of inters for you. What are you looking at? 3 to 5. That's okay. We might have to go to a set of inters on both guys. But we're in 3rd and 7th. Bottas has just taken a fresh set of softs. He's going to come at us at a pace, but I don't think he's going to get enough benefit off of them to be. So we've got Leclerc, we've got Verstappen and Albon moving to inters already. Really starting on the inters early. It's going to be very close, this. Very, very close. I think the guys ahead of us are going straight to inters, but again, is the benefit there to do that? I don't know. We are going to get passed by Bottas. That's inevitable. It's not even worth the fight. Track is starting to get damp. I think I'm going to try and get one more lap off of Alonso, and then a further lap off of Kubica, and we'll go to the inters now. The good thing is on the inters we can really, really push, which is good, because you know we don't need them for long. Essentially, we don't need them for very long. We're going to go full push on that, just to sort of make up for the lack of grip in these tyres, because Bottas will have to come in again, surely. Surely Bottas is going to come again. I mean, he's ahead of us on track, but he is going to have to come in again. That's an absolute certainty, because a few guys getting past us. Rasta's found his way in. You can pit for inters on the next lap, buddy. That's fine. Just relax. Relax, let it go. Right, Kubica up into 3rd. You can also go for a full battery charge and a quick strategy. Hopefully no mistakes. Hopefully mistakes there with Alonso. There aren't, which is good. Alonso's dropped into 8th, which is okay. It's fine. We're going to go full push there and full attack on the tyres, because we really, really don't need them for long. Like, they don't need to last whatsoever. We're going to switch you to attack mode because you're about to come into the pits anyway. And then hopefully we're on to something special here. No mistakes, please. Perfect. Right. Let's get you out of the pits. Let's get you full pushing. And Kubica down into 14th, but I don't think that's going to last for long. ERS is fully charged. I'm well aware, buddy. Get rid of that. Get rid of that fast. Right. Alonso in 5th on a big push. Leclerc has kind of taken all the life out of his tyres by trying to run on the dry. But we're going to take these inters absolutely as far as they can go. On full push. Just burn them out, essentially. Just burn them out. Get ourselves onto a set of full wets and go from there, and hopefully that will be the one. Hopefully that will be the one strategy wise. We'll see what we can do. Kubica attempting an overtake on Danny Ricciardo. Surely not. Surely not. He's taken 11th from Norris, but surely he's not going to get a pass on Ricciardo. He's never going to be close enough for that. Even if I use that little 8% of ERS, it's not going to bring him terribly close. Couple of drivers gone in. That's Sorokin and Albuquerque gone for wets already. It is wet time. It is wet crossover time, but I don't know if it's necessarily the smartest thing to do. Although everyone ahead of us has also gone in. Alonso is in on a set of wets. Rahal behind on a set of wets. I'm going to drop down into this mode just to kind of see what Rahal's closing speed is going to be here, because that will determine whether it is time to make that jump or not. Doesn't look massive. Well, it doesn't look like he's closing at all yet. We may not have quite hit the crossover point yet, although he is starting to close. Kubica is not really gaining on Bottas, but he's also not massively losing out to Leclerc at this point. We're sort of being able to maintain the pace, but I'm not against coming in if we have to. We're still at a stop down on almost everyone else on the track, so that's not the biggest loss potentially. I don't know where Alonso would come out, but I want to keep him on these wets literally as long as I possibly can, because that way we can maybe do something smart strategy wise. Maybe we'll see. It's definitely going to be at least one extra lap for both guys. They're 15 seconds apart, so I could double stack them if I had to. Rahal starting to close in. He's gone. Alright, that's time. When Rahal goes past, that's time. 16 will take us to lap 39. 39 looks like it's kind of the crossover point. Okay, we can do this. We'll make this go. Right, let's hope we get a mistake-free pit stop. We'll full charge Alonso. We're also going to make the pit stop with Kubica. And again, we're going to fully charge the battery and try and keep the quick pit stop mistake-free. That would be beautiful. And yeah, let's just hope for the best on this one. Really hope for the best. We're still keeping up with Rahal. It's not a big loss being made. We are going to drop quite a way down the order, but we'll see. I think we'll come out ahead of Lewis, which is good. Coming out ahead of anyone generally is quite good, but we're going to have to make that work for us. Lost a spot to Vettel. That was to be expected. We're going to go down to neutral just to make these tyres last as long as we possibly can, and hope for another really good pit stop, because that's going to really make or break our race. So, in full change, no mistakes, perfect stuff. Alonso is out, and now Kubica will come in probably just as he's leaving the pit lane. We're not going to sneak out ahead of Leclerc, surely. No, Leclerc is gone, but that's fine, that's absolutely okay. We've got Kubica ready to enter the box, done. No mistakes again, a mistake-free weekend for us as we come back up to pace with Fernando. He's still in 5th, so that's actually not cost him anything at all, really, in terms of time. And now we just have to make it through. Kubica's dropping places rapidly, but he was the last man on Inters, so that's to be expected. I don't think he's quite got the same benefit. Rejoin the track. We are going to go full push on both drivers now and really see what we can do. Hopefully we've played this well. I'm just going to keep on these wets as long as I possibly can, get the switch to Inters at the end of the run, because I think that's going to be the crossover time more or less exactly, and we should be okay. I don't know if we're going to get any big gains. We are currently gaining on Leclerc though, who's on slightly older wets. I don't know if he's conserving the wets. He might be conserving the wets. He's not. Nobody's conserving anything. Rast is behind us, pushing on his engine a little bit. I don't think we've actually got the ability at this stage to push on the engine for anything. I haven't quite finished the reliability upgrades. We might be losing Leclerc at quite a rate of knots actually, because that's generally how it goes when you're a Williams chasing a Ferrari. We are competing with them in the constructors. Obviously, it looks like Red Bull are about to join the fight as well, because Rahal is doing very, very well in the wet, which is interesting. I don't know how they got the guys who made this figured out how good Rahal would be in the wet, because IndyCar typically doesn't run in the wet. So I don't know where the information there came from. You'd assume he'd be bad in the wet, having run IndyCar most of his career, but we'll assume there's some logic behind it. He's certainly doing okay to hold Vettel at bay, who we know is definitely no slouch in the rain. Although Hamilton, who is generally quite good in the rain, is currently stuck behind Rene Rast. Okay, he has had an extra pit stop, but you'd still think he'd probably have caught and passed Rast by now, because Rene Rast is an awful driver. Nobody has any idea how he ended up in the Red Bull team, but apparently he did. Just goes to show, kids, if you wish it hard enough, it could happen. Alonso, we're going to try and push him up, see if we can get him anywhere near the back of Leclerc. He's got a 12-second gap over Rene Rast, which is not too shabby. Rast is actually losing Hamilton, which is interesting. Kubica has finally jumped up into 9th. He managed to get past both the Renaults, although he's just lost out Sorokin. In fact, we might join him because he looks like he's in quite an interesting battle. He is. He's currently sandwiched between two Renaults. I feel like he could probably push a bit harder and maybe get past him. He's trying the outside. It's not going to work for him. He wants to get some more heat in the tyres. I'm reluctant to do the push, but I feel like maybe that's going to be what it takes to conserve the tyres a little bit. Where are we at in terms of this wet spell? We're almost halfway. We're almost halfway through the tyres. It's going to be close. The wets can pretty much run down to the rims, and it's not the worst. Although Danny Rick is currently pushing on as well, on a higher engine mode and more battery, which is okay. Let's do that big push. Let's do that big push again. See what we can do to catch back up. To be fair, I don't expect Kubica to give much of a fight to a Renault, to be honest. It looks like they've both used the ERS to try and push away from us, when they're pretty much gone now. I think they're pretty much done. Although he's back within a second. Maybe there's a way for Kubica to get past. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see if he can get close enough to attack. We're going to have to really save his battery. Hope he can stay behind just on natural racing ability and little advantages on the track. And maybe if we can save that battery up enough, we can push him past. We're going to have to use up some of Alonso's battery as well, I think, because I'm not entirely comfortable with how fast Rene Rast is catching him up. Well, he's just pulled away again. That should be okay. Albuquerque is currently catching up with Kubica as well, which is not the one. I need to drop those tyres back down because we are burning through these tyres. What have we got left on them? We've got 4 to 6 laps. There's more than 4 to 6 laps of... I may have overcooked this. I may have overcooked it, and for no real gain in temperature. Oh, that's awkward. Let's do a conserve. We're going to conserve both guys' tyres just to take them as far as they can possibly go. We're going to have to conserve the tyres. We're going to give the push to Fernando. I know your tyres are underheated, guys. It really, really cannot be helped at this stage. I wish it could, but it can't. Although Kubica's on the back of Sorokin, the man he replaced at Williams, don't forget. Let's hope he can maybe get himself back in there. He's past Sorokin, sorry. He's got Ricciardo behind him, or ahead of him. And Sorokin is coming in for a new set of wets, you'd assume. It's going to be interesting to keep an eye on this, because some guys are going to take a second set of wets. I would love to avoid a second set of wets. I'd like to go straight to the Inters to the end, because the Inters will do those 14 laps quite handily given a chance. But it's very much going to be a case of wait and see. It's Sorokin coming in. We've got Verstappen about 16 seconds behind Kubica. Really is going to be a test of everything we've got right now to try and get these tyres anywhere near the end. Looks like Kubica is going through the wets at a faster rate than Alonso, which is slightly concerning. 1 to 2 laps. He's really going to have to come in very soon. We're going to have to push that as far and as hard as we can. 1 to 3 there on Alonso. We're going to keep an eye on Kubica. We're going to hit that push button, hit this push button. Back to Kubica, because Kubica, I really need to make it through like 2 more laps. So the rain is easing off, which means the track will start drying out. Can he do those 2 more laps for me? Can he be a babe? Really, really be a hero today. Keep these wets going as long as it takes to get ourselves onto the more beneficial strategy. Only got to get through to lap, well, 29, 39. No, maths. Yeah, lap 40. We'll get through to lap 40. We've just lost place to Leclerc, but we should have the benefit of the wet tyres still. We're going to give another push to Alonso, because no one ahead of us is coming for Inters yet. And we're going to hope we get this crossover point just right. So Kubica, it's going to be literally on the rims, but that's going to go right to the end. That should be magical. He shouldn't need a new front wing. Surely not. Right, let's get this pit stop done. We're going to bring Alonso in as well, because they should be far enough apart to make this work. A lot of stuff breaking there. We're going to have to really pull it, because if I change that engine, it's 13 seconds we're not going to get back. Oh, I mean, that's 20 seconds. I don't know what to do. We're going to have to risk that. I think we have to risk that, because I cannot in good conscience. It's going to be really tight between the two of them. Really tight. Hopefully we'll make it work. Hopefully. Alonso's got ever so slightly more on his tyres, so that gap should open up a tiny bit. Leclerc's definitely going to pass Kubica. We're going to make that stop. Bottas is going to disappear. Vettel's having to make some repairs as well. He's just made it out. As Kubica comes in. So close. We've got there though. We've got onto the Inters. It's only Rahal ahead of us who's not on the Inters. Alonso rejoins, only lost 1 place, which is magnificent, with an engine change, quite frankly, and a brake change. Was it brakes or... yeah, I think it was brakes we changed. Yeah, he's done unbelievably well there. He's played that absolutely perfectly. We're going to go to a neutral driving type style. Switch back to Alonso and see if he can start chasing down Rene Rast. You'd hope he could, because Rene Rast, like I keep saying, is an appalling driver. He should have no trouble hunting him down. He's 1.7 behind, 1.5. We're going to see this closing speed happening, hopefully. Seems to have a bit of an advantage to the last corner. Don't know what happened there. Apparently we end up 3 seconds behind all of a sudden. I don't know how that worked. I guess there was something going on there. Really need to get there though, Fernando. Really got to get there. Do a quick push on the tyres. Really quick push on the tyres, just to try and bring him up close. Hopefully we'll have a little bit of fuel to play with as well at some stage very soon, because that will help us immensely in getting through this. Immensely. Voice is going, sorry, long day at work. Got to get there. We can't lose time to Rene Rast, buddy. We can't do that. That's not cool. That's not the one. Really got to catch this up. Really got to catch this up. I want you to be within that second, so I can at least get the benefit of doing a big ERS push at the end, because I'm pushing Kubica to try and catch up to Alonso, but he's still 7 seconds away. Whereas you'd think Alonso would be able to catch Rene Rast quite handily, and he's not, and that's really frustrating. Really frustrating. Lap on lap, Rast is putting gaps. It's that last corner. Something about that Red Bull is really good for that last corner. You can see we'll lose a chunk of time coming through this final sort of corner there. I don't know how that's working. Our ERS recovery should be okay though. We're going to drop these back to neutral because we're really not gaining anything from that. I think we've not quite overcooked the tyres, but we're nearly overcooked the tyres. So, touch and go, touch and go. We're just got to hope for the best. Hope Alonso can get the benefit of Rene Rast doing something awful, because, like I said, he's not really good enough to be in that car. That car can't be that much better than ours in the wet. Surely. Sergei Sorokin just set the fastest lap of the race, which is definitely a sentence that's never been said before in the history of mankind. Kubica's tyres are under heated budge. You're going to have to get over it, mate. I'm not going to lie. I mean, what have you got left on those tyres? Because there's 7 laps remaining. You've got 7 laps on the tyres. I'm barely going to get into the end as it is. I'm just relying on being able to recharge Alonso's battery enough to make up a couple of seconds, which is very much not the one. Kubica's kind of in no man's land. He's sort of just fighting Max Verstappen, which, you know, fair dues, but I can't imagine he's going to hold off Verstappen terribly long. Alonso really needs to do something big here, though. He's put in his best final sector then, which is okay. He just needs to be putting more green sectors together, to be completely honest. I just need to see more green sectors out of him, because I need to cut that gap down. I feel like if I can get the battery up somewhere for the last for lap 52, 53, I feel like I can maybe get him close enough. Should we still be on Inters right now? That's an excellent question. Do you know what, buddy? You've raised an interesting point. You made the call, and I feel like you should remember, if this goes wrong, that you made the call here. But we're going to do it. I'm not going to take a front wing. Right, you're going to have to push all your ERS out now. You are going to have to go full attack. You're going to go full attack. Push the ERS out. I don't know how far you guys are apart. Oh. I feel like on the double stack we might just pull it off. That engine's about to fall apart. It's close. It's going to be really, really close, but we're going to have to hope we get a mistake-free pit stop for Alonso. It doesn't cost anyone too much, too badly. Hopefully the extra push we're giving Alonso with the RS will put enough of a gap between them that we can get in, and get out, and get things done very, very fast. Hopefully this is going to help us push up to Rene Rast. He's not coming in for a set of dries. He's going to the end on his Inters, which is a bold strategy, a really bold strategy, but no one else is coming in. So, either this is going to play out, or it's not. We're giving up 20 seconds, but we're giving up 20 seconds for potentially 10 seconds a lap, if this goes well. If this goes badly, we've probably ruined our entire race. But, if it goes well, we're going to look a bit heroic. So, I say we go for it. Let's get him out on track. The track is drying. Let's go fully RS boost. That's the one. Right. Mechanical problems for Raikkonen. That's going to help us immensely. We've got a little bit of fuel to play with too, which is okay. Let's give Kubica the push too, because he should be able to, if this track is genuinely drying out. It's not supposed to fully dry out by the end of the race. It must be said, it's not supposed to dry out, but it might. Maybe there's a way. Maybe there's a way. We are currently sitting at 4 seconds and closing behind Verstappen. So let's see what we can do here. Can we pull off an absolute miracle? Because people are coming in for dry tyres. We may have blinked first and pulled off a miracle. We may not have done, because Ray Hall is probably going to finish this race quite well. It looks like Verstappen's coming in. Leclerc you'd expect maybe coming in. We're going to keep these last couple of laps, I think, on just full regular pace, because why not? Why not? It's going to be interesting to see how this shakes out, because Bottas and Leclerc have both also had to make repairs, which is going to bring us very close to them. I don't know how big a repair Leclerc is doing, but it looks like a really long one. He's come out on a set of softs, so he must have run out of supers, which is curious. I can maybe just get 2 laps in overtake mode off of both drivers. We're going to have to really keep an eye on this, because that might blow up Kubica's car. Alonso should be fine, I think. Kubica, touch and go. But we're holding off Leclerc. We're doing okay. We're not doing badly. I don't think a podium's going to happen for us today, because that would require a lot to go wrong up ahead of us. Rahal is going to take his first win, I believe, in F1. We've just set the fastest lap of the race, and we're on the final lap. So let's sit and enjoy this. See if we can hold off the challenge of Leclerc behind us. Go for the ERS push, just use it as best we can. We've seemed to have cost ourselves a lot of fuel by being in overtake mode, which is probably not okay. We're going to have to really hope they can just coast this home. In fact, rather than hoping they can coast at home, I'm just going to put them both into hybrid mode and hope they can make up for the mistake I've just made. They should do. They should be able to make that up, you would think. But we'll play it by ear. Alonso should bring this home in 4th. He's not going to have a lot of choice but to bring it home in 4th or 5th, to be honest. We should be recovering fuel, guys. Oh, I've just made a huge boo-boo. Because I should have put Kubica into hybrid mode and I didn't. We can switch Alonso into auto, let him do his thing over the line. Can we get there first? We should get there first. We'll switch back to Kubica to see if I've really screwed it up. Kubica's got no one around him, so he should be okay. We should just make it on fuel. So close, make it on fuel. Unbelievably close, make it on fuel. Push him to the line. Job done. 4th and 8th isn't bad at all. Vettel's tyres are on the rims. Rahal's aren't much better. Sorokin lost a lot of places. But all in all, we didn't actually lose out by switching to a set of softs. So I'm actually quite happy with that. We were maybe a little bit lucky in that a few of the cars ahead of us followed us into the pits. But overall, not too bad. Not too bad. I cannot say I am in any way, shape or form unhappy with that. So that'll do for us. That'll do quite happily. And yeah, good stuff all round. We got home, we got it to work. We're going to finally start cooling the tyres off because they must be screaming at us. But I'm quite happy with that. Kubica finishing 13 seconds ahead of Verstappen. Admittedly, we finished 12 seconds behind Bottas, but 13 seconds ahead of Verstappen. We should have done okay on the points tally versus Mercedes, because Hamilton somehow finishing in 13th after making 6 pit stops, which is just disgusting. I did say we were going to make a lot of pit stops in this race. I didn't think any teams were going to make 6. I thought 4 would be the median. A flat tyre for Danny Kvyat as he comes across the line, which is unfortunate for him. But Graham Rahal getting his first ever victory in Formula 1, which, you know, I don't think is a phrase I thought I'd be saying today, but I did. We're going to get rid of that before I get a whole bunch of problems from the FIA again. Even for a low-level YouTuber like me, they don't mind putting in a few copyright strikes. But yeah, we've done okay. We've done okay to get ourselves to the end, and it's been a good race weekend so far. Well, this weekend. We're going to see where that puts us in the table. I think we'll have fallen to 3rd in the Constructors, just off the top of my head, and probably dropped a little bit on the Drivers, maybe. But we're going to see how that goes. We can just go past this screen. Scrutineering. Anyone going to fail scrutineering? I very much doubt it. It's very, very rare in F1 you see someone get a penalty for a scrutineering error. Let's continue that. Where are we in the Drivers' Championship? We're still sat third with Fernando Alonso. Graham Rahal making a big jump up into fourth. Kubica drops all the way down into seventh despite a points finish. So Alonso still in the championship fight though, only 16 points behind Vettel. In the constructors, we've lost a lot of ground to Mercedes, but we've gained over Mercedes, but we've lost a lot of ground to Ferrari, and Red Bull are about to join the fight as well. So it's going to be a big four-way fight for the top team this year. But not too bad at all this season. This race. I'm quite happy with how the season's going so far after 3 races. I think maybe, just maybe, we have a fighting chance of a touch of glory. Like I said, I really want to give Alonso a Drivers' Championship before he retires, which isn't out of the realms of possibility, but we do really need to get the money coming in from the road car factory to be able to properly develop our team. George Russell will inexplicably gain some kind of development despite the fact he hasn't driven a car in about a season and a half. Alonso's relationship with Bono has gone up. We've exceeded our expectations to keep hold of the marketability, and we've only lost 403,000 this week, so that's not the worst. There's confirmation of everything, and that should bring us nicely to the end of the episode. So if you've enjoyed this one, guys, thank you very much for watching. Please hit the like and subscribe button, because that helps me to get better performances out of the car, scientifically speaking. And until next time, guys, thanks for watching. Also, while you're on the channel, before I forget, I've started doing an F1 2020 My Team series. If you're watching this because you like racing, and I'm assuming you do in fact like racing, otherwise why would you watch? Join me for that, because it's setting up to be a really good season. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you very soon. I've been Chasing Lonely. Have a good one.